to ask them. Our last speaker of the morning, but by no means the least, is Dr. Marco Sermarini. Do come up, Marco. Marco is married to Frederica and is father of 5. Having discovered Chesterton with the 1970 Padre Brown miniseries, he has sought to help his fellow Italians discover and take seriously Chesterton's call for the defence of sanity, the renewal of culture and the education of the next generation. He is the founder and president of the Italian Chesterton Society and of the Scuola Libera G.K. Chesterton, a countercultural, non-governmental school. As you can tell, I'm bilingual, of course. Sermarini also founded and leads the, and this is where I'm clearly not,
the Compagnia dei Tipi Loschi del Beato Pier Giorgio Frassati. Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati.
For the ladies. Which is, I'll translate for you, a confraternity of Catholic families following the example of the young Italian saint from Turin, 1901-1925. Giorgio Frassati, I was telling Marco, I came across when I was setting up a youth group in our parish, and I was concerned that strapping young men like Father Spencer here would find religion a bit sort of milksoppy and for women, and of course I introduced them to the great English martyrs and to Giorgio Frassati. Those of you who don't know him, this is a big guy who went skiing, smoked a pipe, was very handsome, very popular with the ladies, but on fire with the spirit, and died rather young, but he was a macho figure, so a great guy to be able to present to young people. And Marco works as a criminal lawyer in San Benedetto del Tronto on the Adriatic coast of Italy.
Okay.
Marco.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, dear Lord. Fino a qui tutto bene. Till here, everything is all right. Okay. I'm so shameless to speak English in front of Englishmen. So please forgive my bad English. I'm not. For me, it's just like climbing the Himalaya. So please, I'm sorry. Before I speak, so okay. But I had to come because Martin did this strange invitation, okay? And so he doesn't know what he did. But I have to thank everyone because you are all friends of GKC, and I am a friend of GKC. So I'm very happy to stay with you today, to stay here in Beaconsfield. And for me, it's very impressing, all this. And I've been here because that's my uncle's hometown, okay? I consider Gilbert sort of a strange uncle, okay? So I feel myself just like in a dream, okay? Or in a, I don't know, something unreal, but it's all so real. And so it wants some time to order everything. So sorry. Okay. Second, first off, I said this. Okay. Second, we Italians are particularly grateful to GKC because he gave us a very noble title, a nation of gentlemen. He loved us and our beautiful country, which we have to fight for, as it teaches us in orthodoxy. The world is not a lodging house at Brighton, which we are to leave because it is miserable. It is the fortress of our family, with the flag flying on a turret. And the more miserable it is, the less we should leave it. So I only hope to rise to the occasion and not to disappoint you and not to disappoint my country. Okay. We learned to fight for our country, for our little town, for our little field, okay, in San Benedetto del Tronto, and we learned from GKC. So we are very grateful to him. A little bit of history, little history. GKC, for the first time, I met him for the first time when I was 5, a little child of 5. I saw on TV 6 episodes of Father Brown stories, and I was definitely impressed with that decent priest. When the episodes ended, I was very sad, but I never forgot the theme song of that mini-series. The song talk about good things, something to the effect of, but if you had what you saved from a shipwreck on a desert island, you would shout for joy to have a blanket to be put on, and a button of bone and a red cap, a straw, a knife in your hands. That is a brief summary of that page of orthodoxy, talking about Robinson Crusoe and us. Some words go inside the mind and the heart of a little child and work silently for many years. I have always kept these words in my heart, thanks also to the teaching of my parents. So when I was 25, I found a booklet together with a weekly newspaper. I read that book, and closing it, I said, I'm almost sure this is the father of that little priest I saw on the television when I was 5. The book was The Man Who Was Thursday, and I had a strange sensation of peace after reading it. I admit that is surely a strange sensation, because if you think of the subtitle, A Nightmare, you should not be peaceful. Okay. I fell in love with this writer that gave me every time so much joy, truth, peace, desire to fight. It was the rational support that was missing in my faith. Don't lose this man, Marco, I said. Digging in the bookshops, I discovered that it was true, and that he was GKC, he was the father of Father Brown, and that he was a good Catholic. One by one, I purchased all the books of this man, but they were few, too few in Italian. So I became an eBay user for this reason, and I started reading GKC in English. So, no, capiscono. You understand? Good. I shake my hand. Okay. Satisfaction. I discovered a genius, but this genius was forgotten in Italy. So I started working for this aim. I had to show to everyone this genius. In 2002, I founded with 2 other friends the Italian Chesterton Society. The first problem was the impossibility of finding his books in Italian. We had only Father Brown stories, orthodoxy, published continuously since 1927, some old edition of Heretics and Men Alive, and a few other books. But all this was strange. GKC's titles were published continually for many years, and we had many other titles, and he was introduced in Italy by Emilio Cecchi through one of the best Italian literary reviews, La Ronda. Father Spencer said to me, please, insert an Italian word every some lines, because people come at the conference just like at the zoo. They want to hear the elephant crying, okay? So sometimes I will insert some strange word, okay, in the beautiful language of Dante Alighieri, la bella lingua di Dante Alighieri. Can you hear the sound of the elephant? Okay. After, hereby, some lines, and then you will hear the lion. Okay. Okay. Good. He is my personal trainer. My bodyguard, my guardian angel, and my babysitter. Thank you. La Ronda was founded by Giovanni Papini. Here. Man Alive was first published in episodes on this review. Cecchi came here to Beaconsfield in 1918 to interview and meet GKC. He spoke about the house of the giant, meaning talking about overroads, a too tiny home to take inside such a giant, he said. And he spoke about also his way of laughing and his way of talking with a deep voice that becoming fastly, rapidly, a child voice. And so it's very colorful account, molto italiano, molto colorato, okay? But slowly, GKC lost his place among us. He wasn't a capitalist. He wasn't a communist. He wasn't a progressive. He wasn't a Tory. So he was apparently useless for Italy and for our world. So he was slowly forgotten, even if he was a die-hard. He was a true Catholic and consequently difficult to kill and to silence, just like me. Cardinal Giacomo Biffi, that is a true Chestertonian, said something great and true, that GKC was forgotten in Italy precisely when he was most needed. I think that this wasn't only a case. Faith was so important for him. It involved every small part of his life. I'm talking about Gilbert. And such an attitude was so rare in Italy. A bad attitude consisting in the idea of separating faith and culture was rising in Italy. So you can understand why such a man was forgotten. But I can see that such a destiny has been common for GKC everywhere. Another problem was the unknown side of GKC, his social ideas, his distributism. I read an Italian translation of What's Wrong with the World and the outline of Sanity only in 2010. I think that this side was partly unknown, partly censored. However, when we discovered it, we understood that it was the aim and the main commitment of the last decade of his life. I think that he felt it as a matter of completeness of his life and faith, not a technical and academic expedient. He was a man, a complete man, and so this part wasn't, we can tear away this part, so important. When I discovered that distributism was for us and that it was possible, I, in a certain sense, threw myself head first inside it, okay? It was the answer of to all the contradictions that I saw in the world. It was the name for many things that we were and we are still doing in Italy. We needed a father, and we found it in him, and he was GKC. Oh, fantastico. That's the lion. Uh, that's the lion. Okay. Then, that was a big problem because many Italian Catholic thinkers thought that the Catholics had to be brought to democracy, and so their Catholicism should be somehow reduced in its intensity. Chesterton thought that real democracy was tradition, too difficult to be reconciled. I think it's a paradox, but now we have less problems because we believe that creative minorities can take their space, as Pope Benedict said. And Chesterton can be the champion of people thinking about Catholicism and distributism as the right strength for the world. The real problem is the relation between us and the world. Chesterton gives us a way of living this relation in orthodoxy when he conceives it as the philosophy of Pimlico. Do you remember the page? I think yes, but I read a little bit. Our attitude towards life can be better expressed in terms of a kind of military loyalty than in terms of criticism and approval. My acceptance of the universe is not optimism. It's more like patriotism. Let us suppose we are confronted with a desperate thing, say Pimlico. If we think that what is really best for Pimlico, we shall find the thread of thought leads to the throne of the mystic and the arbitrary. It is not enough for a man to disapprove of Pimlico. In that case, he will merely cut his throat or move to Chelsea. Nor, certainly, it is enough for a man to approve of Pimlico, for then it will remain Pimlico, which would be awful. The only way out of it seems to be for somebody to love Pimlico, to love it with transcendental tie and without any earthly reason. Okay. So, for this love of Pimlico, we started to work for our little Pimlico. That is San Benedetto del Tronto, that is Italy, okay? And so, I make it brief. In 2008, founded the Chesterton School. The Chesterton School is a way of going out of this problem, okay? This way of acting suggested by GKC pushed us to found the free school, the Free Chesterton School, a non-governmental school with more than 60 pupils. This foundation was a matter of families that heard the best things of Chesterton and on education. We understood that education is a right and a duty of every family, and not a problem of the government, of the state, and that the government has to be one step behind. That's the rediscovery of family, a little reign of the common sense. And so we discovered one good thing, that is working together, families helping each other, spending time together, having a place to go to call home. And so now we have a place that we named after the Shire of J.R.R. Tolkien, because we consider ourselves just like hobbits, unless but I eat 6 times a day just like a hobbit. So I'm a complete hobbit, okay? And there is something that is not yet said, and that's the time of the people of the Shire, said Tolkien. That's our time, okay? We are rising from the silent fields of the Shire, from a distant part of the world, such a peripheral place, just like Italy, okay? But we are rising slowly but strongly. And we are fighting for the Shire just like we would like to fight for Pimlico, okay? For the tower of the family with the flag over the top, okay? So we started working around these things. For us, Chesterton is an example. It's a road to follow. It's so simple. And so we go ahead on this road. So we founded the school. We founded some cooperatives to work together, to make the things that a family has to do, but doing it as a matter of the family, okay? Every year we have a Chesterton Day, National Chesterton Day in my town, okay? We, as a society, we support the publishers. We request to publish books to the publishers, Chesterton Books. We push them to do this. And so that's one of our commitments, okay? And another commitment is creating bonds between Chestertonians in the world, okay? That's why I am here, because through a strange net, I arrived here in Beaconsfield, okay? I became friend of Spencer, then of Dale, and I'm a close friend of Stratford Caldecott. And Stratford introduced me to a good friend, a big man, that is John Canu in Sierra Leone, okay? He stayed here in Oxford 3 years, and he founded his shire in Sierra Leone, in Kono district. And now we are collaborating with him to try to establish a vocational school there in Sierra Leone, okay? Now they are free of working for themselves and for creating a good world in Sierra Leone. Not in the established way, in a way established by some other else in some other place, far from Sierra Leone, but in the way of Sierra Leone, just like we are trying to do in Italy, okay? So these are a sort of a net, okay? Another part of the net is the Chesterton Institute that introduced us to many, many nice things that we never heard in Italy. we were hungry of Chesterton, and that's another point of work, okay? Dermot knows, he's come in Italy many times, and so he knows our lively reality, okay? Our home, my home, is your home, okay? It's not a way of saying, I wait for you in San Benedetto. I wait for you in Italy, because we have to be all together, working for the world that Chesterton thought, okay? That's the way of going ahead. It's not, we are not a literary society, okay? We are, as Aidan said, merciless propagandist, okay? Another point of work is the relation with some Chestertonian monks in Italy, the monks of Norcia. That it's an important monastery working as a distributist monastery. They produce beer and they read Chesterton. So they go after vocations. They help us in these matters. And so another point of work. And now you can see that that's a net. There are bonds, there are links, there are friendships, okay? There are many, many, many things to do and to speak about. I can say another thing, okay? We rediscovered something that we Italians made 5 centuries ago. The Monti di Pietà, that's the leopard, okay? Do you know what are the Monti di Pietà? Monti di Pietà were a way of lending money, giusto? Without going to the bank. They were founded by Franciscan friars. The first was San Bernardino da Siena. The second was a fellow of my town, San Giacomo della Marca, St. James of the Marca, okay? 4 kilometers from my home. They founded this way of lending money and to help people to live without becoming slaves of banks. Monti di Pietà, mounts of piety, possiamo dire? Okay, that's a strange translation, but it's so. I think that's a sort of distributism ante litteram, okay? But perhaps I think that distributism gets his roots in Monti di Pietà, in medieval civilization, in our old dear Europe, okay, Christian Europe. And we used this way of gathering money for purchasing a field and a building to use for our shire, to use for our school, to cultivate olive trees, to cultivate vegetables. And so, and part of the money that we gather come from donations. Part are an investment of our people, of our families in this aim. We feel that this is an aim that needs concrete support. And we don't give our money to the first we met on the road and then thinks to his aims. We want to give our money to support our aims. And so we are working on it. And we started doing this after reading G.K. Chesterton, okay? I'm going on the exit of the zoo, okay? Oh, let's speak of sanctity, holiness, okay. Many of us are praying G.K. Chesterton every day. I am the translator in the beautiful language of Dante of the prayer, okay? Mr. William Addy put this prayer in his website in the morning. In the afternoon, the prayer was still translated, okay, in Italian. When I was leaving and I was getting the airplane, I was meeting with my bodyguard. He was taking me inside the airplane, go back, don't go there, okay, go straight, okay. I got some problems of orientation sometimes. I was forgetting my, come si chiama? A borsa. My luggage on the bus, then I was forgetting on the airplane and so on, perhaps, forse. Okay, so I was writing on WhatsApp to my friends that I was leaving for Beaconsfield. I was going to my uncle, and I will pray. I would pray for them I would remember every one of them, okay? Particularly some people. One of them, Daniela, che animale è questo? What's the animal? Said to me, you can say to all, that's something like this, okay? I could try to translate. You can say to all that I entrusted my entire pregnancy of my daughter, Elena, to GKC. It's a drop in the sea, but here she is, a beautiful child, okay? But Daniela has some problems with another pregnancy and that ended badly. And she prayed GKC, okay? And GKC was a good companion during these 9 months of this young girl, okay? And this young little child, okay? It's only one example, but many of us consider GKC a good friend, an example, an uncle, a father. I have to thank him because he's a sort of ignition for my life, together with the blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati. I think that GKC teaches us, first, the integrity of life. He is a complete man. Dale said it's a complete thinker. When you read the part of the letter that he wrote to his mother, I was very impressed because these are the things for which we are fighting. And he became Catholic for them. Fantastico. He is a complete man. Another thing that we don't want to betray him, so we have to act like him. We can cut away anything of his life. He died for his ideals. I think I read many books on Chesterton, and I think that the last decade of his life was a kind of a rush to get in paradise, okay? Because he thought that every day, every little part of his life was to be committed to these ideals that were Catholic ideals, that were the church ideals, Jesus Christ's ideals. So, Italy has spoken. I came and I came to say to everyone that we have to work together. We have to work together for this possible good world. We are committed to this. We have to be committed to this. And we have to be friends forever. Okay? Certo. Thank you. Grande.